Welcome back to the second Code With Me video for Chapter 7. In this video, we'll be covering a lot of different activities, mainly covering the sectional formatting for different sections of documents. We'll be covering activities 7.3 through 7.8. For this first activity, we'll be covering the same file in the headings folder that we created from the previous video. If you haven't created this yet, please go ahead and create what you see on the screen, or reference the previous video to make sure that you are up to date with what we're doing. So the first thing is we're going to be clicking to the left of the opening H1 tag, which is right here, the game arena on line 10. We'll be opening it up with the header tag. There we go. And we'll be putting the closing header tag right after the UL. Now keep in mind that the header tag is different than the heading tags. The heading tags are like H1, H2, H3, etc. The header tag is placed at the top of the section, most commonly the body, that provides some commonalities for the actual page itself, or the top of the section providing relevant information. In this case, we're going to be placing this at the top of the page because it also includes our navigation and the primary title for what the company or the organization is called. Okay, we also go below and make sure that the UL and the H1 below are tabbed over so we know exactly where the header starts and ends. Otherwise, if we had everything over to the far left, it's a little hard to read. So by having it tabbed over, it makes it easier for us to read and also easier to understand so we can see where the header starts and ends. If you go ahead and save, you refresh our browser, you'll notice that there's nothing visually different. The H1 and the UL list still appear the same, but semantically, now browsers and search engines know where the header is for this page. For the next activity, activity 7.4, we'll be adding the navigation. Now we already have a navigation, which is this unordered list right here. All we are doing now is we're actually wrapping that inside of a nav tag. Nav tag. And because we're good developers, we'll go ahead and take that and scoot it over. So just like the header tag, we're wrapping the UL inside of a nav tag, so that way browsers and search engines know that this is navigation. It's not just a bunch of links. Again, you save, you refresh in the browser, and visually there is no difference. But now, if you take a look at the code, you can see that we actually have the header and the nav located in the code. For 7.5, we are leaving this headings folder and we'll be moving to the game arena folder. If you'll notice, the index in the game arena looks very similar to what we just created, but this has a lot more text in it. What we'll be doing is actually analyzing this content to make it a little more user-friendly versus what we just created. So the first thing is we're going to be identifying the main content. The pick of the month section through the end of the comments, line 22, right here, all the way to line 43, right here, 43. Next, H2. All of this is going to be the primary page content. So basically what we have is going to be wrapped inside of a main section. The game tips, as in everything below, is just extra content that's not necessarily important to the page. It's good, but it's not important to what we want this page to be about. So we're going to be wrapping this whole section right here inside of a main tag. First thing is main. And the reason why we're wrapping all of this in a main tag is because this is the primary content for this page. And don't forget, we can only have one main tag per page. Otherwise, the information provided may or may not be relevant to the content that's being displayed. Okay, so we have inserted the main tag, we've gone down, we've closed the main tag. Brackets may automatically close it for us. We've tabbed everything over so we know where main begins and ends. And we save. Let's go back into the game arena folder. Load up. And again, visually, there may not be much difference, but semantically, now the browser and everything else knows what the formatting of this page is. Okay, activity 7.6. We'll be modifying the area right below main as well for pick of the month. And this, along with the paragraph below it, will be wrapped inside of a header tag. If you recall from before, we've added a header tag up here, wrapping the H1 and the nav, which is also a UL, inside it. But we aren't limited to headers. We can add multiple headers. In this case, we're making this the header of the main section. There we go. Tab that over, and we are good. Okay, so the H2 and the P tag are now wrapped in a header tag. Semantically, again, saving, refreshing. Visually, no difference, but semantically, now the browser and different systems know that this is the header for the main section. Okay, activity 7.7. Click to the right of the closing main tag. Let's get in brackets first. Here we go, main tag. Line 46. Okay, line 47 for us. We're going to tap enter and add an A side. Now, if you recall, A side is basically a sidebar for the page. Click the blank line under 62 under the closing UL right here and close your A side if you can spell A side correctly. There we go. Tab everything over because we're good developers, want to make sure everything lines up correctly, and save. And again, we refresh, and visually there is no difference. But if you take a look at the code itself, you'll notice that all of our modifications have been made. Main, header, going down here, closing main, A side, going down here, closing A side. We'll validate everything in just a moment. Last but not least, activity 7.8. Click right below the closing A side, and we're going to wrap the bottom portion in a footer, because that is the footer of the page, and it contains relevant information for contact for this page itself. Tabbing everything over so we know where the footer begins and ends, and we are good to go. Again, visually, no difference. But let's take a look at the actual code itself. Let's highlight it all, copy, validator, validate by direct input, paste, and look at that, green box. Okay, so that is everything for this video. We've covered the header, nav, main, the sidebar or the A side, and the footer. For the next set of videos, we'll be covering the additional subsections such as activities 7.9, 7.10, 7.11, and 7.12. If you have any questions, please shoot me an email and I'll answer pretty much any question you send me.